Hi everyone, welcome to this video on anemia. Anemia is the most common blood cell disorder in the US and the world, and it's also high yield for exams. Now the challenge isn't going to be identifying anemia itself, it's figuring out what caused it. So in this video series, I'm going to break it down for you, and in video 1, I'm going to explain what anemia means, how we identify it, and then at the end, introduce the diagnostic algorithm we're going to use to identify the cause. Let's get to it. So I'll start with a quick refresher about red blood cells. Just like the other two blood cells, which are the white blood cells and platelets, they're also made in the bone marrow, but they're by far the most abundant in blood. And that's because they have a very important function, which is to carry oxygen to tissues. And for this reason, their main content is hemoglobin, which is what binds the oxygen. So looking at this red blood cell, you can see it's packed with hemoglobin everywhere except for the center, which is called the pale zone. So as red blood cells are developing in the bone marrow, they get rid of their nucleus and organelles to make room for as much hemoglobin as possible. The next important thing is the red blood cell shape. They're biconcave or disc shape, and this is important because number one, it increases their surface area to volume ratio, which makes them more efficient at gas exchange, which remember is their main job. And then number two, it allows them to be more flexible, which is actually really important because remember, red blood cells are circulating in the blood and going everywhere, so they need to be able to navigate tight spaces and narrow blood vessels. So this flexible shape helps keep them from getting trapped and lysed. And then finally, the average lifespan of a red blood cell is about 120 days. And what happens is that as they age, they lose this normal structure and flexibility. So eventually they get trapped in the spleen and phagocytosed by the splenic macrophages. The hemoglobin gets broken down for parts. The iron from heme is recycled for synthesizing new hemoglobin. And the rest of heme breaks down to bilirubin, which is sent to the liver to be excreted in bile. So now let's talk about anemia. We already defined this in the video on CBC interpretation. So the technical definition is a decrease in total circulating red blood cell mass, but this is hard to measure. So clinically, the main way we make the diagnosis is by seeing a low hemoglobin and hematocrit on a CBC. And just as an aside, whenever you see abnormal labs, it's very important clinically to look at the patient's prior values to see if there's an acute change. So now let's talk about the pathophysiology of anemia. And remember that the main problem here is decreased oxygen delivery to tissues, and that's what causes the symptoms, which are going to be weakness, headache, dizziness, shortness of breath, and palpitations. And then on exam, the main findings are going to be pallor, which can be seen in the skin. Some examples right here, or where I like to look is the conjunctiva, and you can also see pallor of the tongue. And if the patient is having acute blood loss or a severe anemia, you may also see hypotension and tachycardia. Now, the severity of all these symptoms depends on a few things. First, how low is the hemoglobin? So the lower the value, the more significant the symptoms should be. But also how acutely this is developed. So the body has a way of developing compensation over time, and I've been surprised several times in the ED with patients who have extremely low hemoglobin but very mild symptoms, and that's because they developed it chronically over months and years, and this is something that you're also going to see as well, so just keep this in mind. And then finally, patients who have other chronic diseases that make their tissues more dependent on oxygen delivery may exhibit more significant symptoms. For example, patients with coronary artery disease may develop angina from the decreased oxygen delivery. So figuring out that someone has anemia isn't hard. We can just look at their hemoglobin and hematocrit. What's actually hard is figuring out what caused the anemia. So the point here is that anemia is just a lab value. It's not a final diagnosis. So once we know a patient has anemia, the next step is to identify what caused it. And there are many, many different diseases that cause anemia, and some of the common ones are listed here. So to make it easier to sort through all these causes, we'll use a diagnostic algorithm based on the patient's red blood cell MCV. This is the most commonly used anemia algorithm clinically, and it's also the one you'll use when studying for the boards. So let's talk about this MCV algorithm. Remember, MCV is the average volume of the red blood cells, and the normal range is 80 to 100 ventiliters. So this means that in somebody with anemia, there are three options. If the MCV is less than 80, the red blood cells are smaller than normal, so this is known as microcytic anemia. If, on the other hand, it's greater than 100, that means the red blood cells are larger than normal. This is known as macrocytic anemia. Or if it's in the 80 to 100 range, that means this is normal. So this is normocytic anemia. So for example, here our patient has anemia because they have a low hemoglobin hematocrit, and their MCV is 85, so it's in the normal range. So this is a normocytic anemia. And the reason this helps is because diseases that cause anemia will fall into one of these three categories. So once you know the MCV, you can quickly narrow down your differential diagnosis and think about diseases that match that MCV. So for example, in this patient, you can quickly narrow it down to a disease that causes normocytic anemia. And so this is what the algorithm will look like. We have anemia, which is a low hemoglobin and hematocrit. If MCV is less than 80, it's microcytic, and these are the causes. If MCV is between 80 to 100, it's normocytic, and these are the causes. And if MCV is greater than 100, it's macrocytic, and these are the causes. Alright, so that's the end of this intro video. In the next set of videos, we're going to go through this algorithm. So up next, we're going to start by going through microcytic anemia first. Okay, that's it and that's all. I linked the microcytic anemia video here so you can check it out. And if this video helped you, please give it a like, drop a comment, share it with others. And if you haven't already done so, subscribe to my channel so you can stay up to date on new videos and posts. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.